I have broken bread with Bob Wojnarowski. I like him as a person. He blew one thing with this sit-down interview he did with Tigers owner Chris Ilitch a couple of days ago. I mean, it was a voluminous interview. There was a million things you could hit. There was one part that really kind of irked me where Wojo asked Chris Ilitch, hey, that District Detroit thing, what's the deal with that? I'm happy Wojo asked. I give him credit for that. But Chris Ilitch's response not getting lit on fire in that moment is just flabbergasting. I couldn't believe it. So Wojo is pressing Chris Ilitch on this District Detroit thing. Now, quick refresher, Chris Ilitch sat before the Detroit City Council and said, if you give me $325 million in city funds to get my arena, here's what I'm going to give you. It was like Lyle Langley in The Simpsons with the monorail. Beautiful renderings. We've all seen them before. The artist who drew these things probably made six figures for the project. It was bejeweled. If you give me that pile of cash, this is what I'll deliver. They said yes, gave them the money. They built the arena, and they didn't build anything. This has been going on. This was supposed to break ground, the District Detroit, the area around Little Caesars Arena, in 2015. So the arena opened in 17. The surrounding district was supposed to open simultaneously, and they were going to expand on it. It was never going to be done in 2017, but some version of an early version was supposed to, with the arena open in 2017. We are 7 years past when they were supposed to break ground on this, and they haven't done one thing. So Wojo, to his credit, asked Chris Ilitch about this in their one-on-one sit-down at Comerica Park, and this was the response from Tigers owner Chris Ilitch. Certainly, the pandemic has changed things. I laid out a vision of what we wanted to do in the District Detroit, and a couple partnerships didn't work out. That set us back. But what are you going to do? You're going to throw in the towel? We're going to persevere, and we're going to build it even better than what we were planning before. Chris Ilitch is invoking the pandemic as the only listed reason why the District Detroit didn't happen. That was the first thing out of his mouth. The answer speaks for itself. There's no, it was one of 7 factors. It's the reason. Even had it been listed as one of the 7 reasons and had some other factors in there for why it didn't happen. Keep in mind, he's being asked why it didn't happen. What's going on? It wasn't even erroneously included on a list of valid reasons. It was the whole thing. But even if it had been, it doesn't have a leg to stand on even in a pie breaking down the reasons. It would be erroneous then. It's especially egregious to say it entirely is on the pandemic, and that's what his response indicates. This does not take any type of genius level IQ to ascertain the truth and to ascertain how ridiculous that response was. COVID-19 was end of 2019, first documented case at the end of the year in December over in China. The first one here, January 2020. And the first famous one, obviously, Rudy Gobert with the Jazz. The District Detroit promise was made not a month or two before that. The promise to build the District Detroit was made conditional on the money like 6, 7, 8 years before. The arena that was supposed to open with the District Detroit opened almost 3 years before COVID-19 even hatched in this country. So it's, the fact to blame, I don't know if Chris Ilitch is indicating that the virus hopped in a DeLorean and traveled forward and back in time to manipulate the situation somehow to ambush and sabotage the District Detroit project. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. That's like a preposterous, it doesn't make sense. It's a preposterous statement to make. And the fact that Wojo went right into like, how's the team looking this year thing after that, or whatever it was irrelevant as a follow-up, was disappointing because that was a great opportunity. It was the easiest thing ever. Like, what do you mean the pandemic? The HBO came out with a full documentary with Real Sports Brian Guppel in 2019. A year before COVID came out, they made a documentary on the lie of the District Detroit. I couldn't believe that. I was disappointed in Wojo there because he had Chris Ilitch isn't out and about every day. He doesn't grant a lot of press access. It's very limited, usually very controlled. Bob Wojnarowski was sitting knee to knee with the guy for like an hour and had all the time in the world. He asked him 37 other questions. I was disappointed in that. And the end, though, this was interesting. Ben, if you can throw that quote back up, because this part was interesting to me. He says, what are you going to do? You're going to throw in the towel? The quote here, we're going to persevere and we're going to build it even better than what we were planning before. That part is interesting. So he has essentially doubled down on the District Detroit promise and has said that he's going to make it even better than their original plans. Now, their original plans, just Google District Detroit artist renderings. It looks like the merry old land of Oz in the city of Detroit. The fact that he's doubling down not only on matching that plan, but somehow surpassing it. I was actually fascinated by that. Now, I don't believe a word of that. But the fact that he's like doubling down and saying, hey, don't worry, it's still going to happen. And it's going to be even better than you thought it was before. I mean, holy L. Ron Hubbard Scientology. What kind of an explanation was that? When's that happening? Can I get a timeline? I couldn't believe that. We've all beaten the District Detroit thing to death. I had to address that because it's new information. It's preposterous as an explanation. And the fact that this promise has been renewed, I can't believe nobody talked about it. I'm like the only one that talked about that second part in particular, where he's still saying it's going to happen, and it's going to be even more impressive than we thought it was going to be before. Chris Ilitch, look, he had a B+ offseason. Everyone doing cartwheels because he approved the Meadows trade. This payroll is still like 18th or 19th in the league. Until we're like top 10 or top 12, I'm not throwing roses at the guy's feet. But to his credit, he did have a good offseason. You can't say he surpassed what I thought they would do.